Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back on another video from Mother's Basement, and today we're checking out Reject Anime, Return to Manga. I think this is quite interesting because I have recently started to go back into the old manga way. I find that manga can be a more enjoyable experience. When I think about Naruto, which is one of my all-time favourite things ever, I do think that my experience with the manga was better than with the anime. I'm enjoying One Piece's manga right now. Whenever I check out reviews from Talking About Mark, a lot of people complain about the anime, with the pacing and everything. And I don't know, even Boruto's a more enjoyable experience through the manga. Dragon Ball Super's manga is boss, not having to wait for anime to come out because it's just continuing that way. It'd be interesting to see what he is actually going to point out with this video, so let's check it out. Reject Anime, Return to Manga.
Being a modern anime fan can be more than a little overwhelming.
Yes.
There are so many shows vying for your views, but only a handful of the ones you check out will even begin living
Vivi was so good.
potential, and only a handful of those will ever totally fulfill it. Disappointments rack up, and with them, trepidation toward taking more chances.
Oh god, yeah, that's true.
Watching the few massive sure things that everyone is talking about, maybe whatever your favorite YouTubers recommend. What if I were to tell you that there's a way to drastically raise your odds of discovering great new stories for yourself while simultaneously reducing the time you spend on disappointments? The answer is to go back to something simpler, less commercial, more monochromatic. Reject anime. Return to manga.
Amazing.
I understand that this is a rather drastic lifestyle change.
I wouldn't say it's quite drastic.
You're here to watch stuff, not read stuff. You like the animation part of the anime.
Yeah.
Sakuga, cinematography, music, and voice acting.
It's like with JoJo's. I don't think I could read the JoJo manga because I'm so invested in the anime.
For starters, it's a much more expedient mode of storytelling than anime, or at least it can be. You can, and absolutely should when you have the time, mosey through your
Uzumaki.
luxuriant pace, pausing to pore over the finer points of each panel's artwork so that you can fully appreciate all the effort and time that goes into them. That's even preferable for epic fantasy like Berserk and Nausicaa or horror manga.
I am tempted to get into Berserk, man.
But you can also blast through 3 volumes or more of your average Shonen Jump or Shoujo beat thing in an afternoon without missing a beat, absorbing all those visual subtleties entirely subconsciously. The best thing about reading is that you get to do it on your own time.
Yeah. Pick it up whenever you want, even just read a couple of pages and then put it down.
Be it a bathroom break, a bus ride, the moment
I like that. It's like with One Piece, I literally just right, I'll read 3 more pages. Do something in between. Yeah.
Actually require your specific input. You'll be surprised how much of your backlog you can clear just by silently stealing a few minutes here and there.
Yeah.
Now, you may think that you just don't want to read at all because that's for nerds, but that's almost certainly a lie, and
it is.
Not only can I prove it, but in the same sentence,
I'll
read. Improve your whole life. Think about when the last time was you checked Twitter and how much time you spent on it.
Yeah.
Now, consider how much less stressed out you'd have been if you'd used that time to read a chapter of
He's so right. It's very true.
Spy Family.
I want to read Spy Family.
My Hero Academia, Vigilantes or Original Recipe. Take your pick. It doesn't even have to be a shonen thing. All that matters is all the good it'll do for your mental health to remove the cursed bird app from your home screen.
It's true. I should leave manga by my bed now.
That said, this isn't just a question of the format's convenience. Manga's its own art form with its own distinct advantages over.
Yes, I definitely agree.
Flexible pacing I was talking about can also be a powerful storytelling.
It's like the way certain panels are done in certain ways is so different sometimes. It's like, whoa.
Information that can be condensed into a single page varies wildly, which means that if, say, a mangaka needs to set up the next stretch of their story with a load of exposition that can't just be folded organically into the action, they can dump it all in one dense single-panel diagram. Yeah. Multi-panel montage.
They've done well, throwing that over from Dr. Stone, though. My girlfriend's been reading the Dr. Stone manga.
Dialogue to deliver and be much more obstructive to the overall story. This leaves room for the rest of the chapter to still contain content that's not context, and on top of that, the fact that diagram pages tend to have simpler art and lots and lots of text also means that more time can be devoted to drawing and polishing all of those other pages, improving the manga's storytelling quality overall.
Interesting.
This approach is so effective that both the JoJo and Dr. Stone anime lift it wholesale from their respective source material, but in both cases, the implementation's kind of janky.
Oh right, so all that stuff's in the manga then, that's cool.
Medium mean that either viewers have to pause to read everything, or the diagrams have to stay on screen for a while, thus cutting...
Yeah, okay, wow, this is true, yeah, with the manga, you just like, there's no rush.
Deity's approach of simply fast-forwarding through all the exposition.
Plus, with One Piece, you're missing out on the opening chapter, like, pages as well.
Because this is something that manga simply does better than anime. And there are many other benefits to the medium's loose relationship with time, like how having blink-and-you-miss-'em action shots frozen forever in a single panel means you'll never actually miss them.
Yeah, this is very true. I'm on board with this video.
Can create a single image that encapsulates an entire scene's worth of events. The Zombie Devil spread that I talked about in my Chainsaw Man video is a great example of that. And like everything else in Chainsaw Man, this aspect just keeps getting better with time. Because the reader is also an active participant in setting the pace of the story and turning pages to keep it going, thriller and horror manga are able to ramp up their tension in a manner that's tuned to the sensibilities of each audience member, while still...
Never tried reading a horror manga. That would be an interesting experience.
That principle is the foundation of Junji Ito's entire career.
That's all that stuff is in Waterstones at the moment.
His work sing so hauntingly. Equally important is his insanely disturbing detail.
Oh my god.
And whether it's a weekly shonen thing, a monthly josei thing, or something else entirely, that's another thing manga will always
do better
over anime. It's just inevitable when comparing a format that demands maybe 80
God, the art in some of the... Oh my god,
thousands in full color. Manga artists can take time that anime artists simply can't
well, to a degree.
Highlights, perfect their composition.
I mean, if you've got stuff coming out weird... Like, look at the way Bleach went with Kubo stuff. The art at the beginning is so incredible, and it's not that it was bad at the end. There was bits missing. Not as detailed in the backgrounds and stuff like that.
Night and day. I can say the same for One Piece, and already have at great length, and even for Black Clover. The fact that you can't hear Asta while you're playing it
screaming,
is just icing on the cake. Yuki Tabata's character illustrations are
it is. The Black Clover manga is like... I've only read like the first few volumes, but yeah. Looks sick.
The world around them is rendered, lends it a distinct
yeah, Nux has talked about this as well, and how the Black Clover anime really does it disjustice with the detail.
And Berserk is, of course, the best example out there of a manga so intricately...
Yeah, I've seen some of the art style in Berserk. Whoa.
That no anime production, no artist, period, save for the late, great genius who created it, could ever hope to replicate its full splendor. But it's not just the enhanced detail that makes great manga art so impressive. This is a medium defined by its limitations, chiefly the uniform page sizes and cheap black and white printing of the magazine anthologies in which the vast majority of manga get their start. Because color pages are a commodity, manga artists need to master composition and
it has to look
good. Any new reader's eyes. And if they want to keep them, they also need to carefully consider their layouts, placing
this is true as well. Interesting.
Guide your eyes through each page.
As it is just black and white.
Spacing, sound effects, perspective, and even style of line art can all drastically alter the overall mood of a scene.
This video is a very good video.
Manga, as there are angles at which a line can cross a page. We find a classic example in the very first World Tournament arc of the original Dragon Ball, in the fight between Nam and Goku. Note how the top panel of each page slants downward where Goku is on the defensive, and upward when he's winning. It's a simple technique, but the way it makes your eyes bounce around as you read helps you feel like you're actually following the flow of the fight instead of scanning a page. With a bit of tweaking, speaking, unconventional paneling like that can also be used to disorient the reader.
Right.
For instance,
go on, give us an
in his
example.
next fight against Jackie Chun, the overwhelming impact of the series' first ever Kamehameha clash is sold with a reaction page that tilts the whole world tournament stage on its side, forcing every panel around it to distort at odd angles. And by following the last bug-eyed Jackie stumbling to his feet with a smiling Goku sitting back up in a near-symmetrical squared-off frame, the manga additionally informs us that its hero's powers of recovery are superhuman. Akira Toriyama...
Isn't there a moment where Goku breaks, like, the panel as well, with something?
...format of manga to his own ends, and his influence on future works would stretch far beyond establishing the basic shonen battle formula. Of course, manga has come a long way in the 3.5 decades since he helped redefine it, so it might be helpful to take a look at what a modern genius is doing.
Let's have a look.
More specifically, a look back at the transcendent feature-length one-shot manga of that name that Tatsuki Fujimoto apparently spent the year since Chainsaw Man wrapped perfecting. The storytelling starts as soon as you see the cover page, a shot of the heroine Fujino's room, which will be used as a recurring motif throughout the manga, marking the passage of time and her growth as an artist.
Interesting.
As the story proper begins, we follow sheets of paper down the page, flowing through a vertical panel that's framed at an unconventional top-down angle. Each panel that shoots into the left shows how the kids in that row of desks react to the paper, efficiently establishing the layout of the scene as the story is already in motion. Turning the page, we get to see what they're laughing at as a manga within the manga, with Fujino
Mangaception.
a copy of the newsletter out of her own panel, as if to hand it to
over.
us,
Yeah, that's cool.
accentuating the break in the fourth wall that this framing causes.
Cool.
In a show of artistic restraint, this panel pop-out effect, which Fujimoto loves using in Chainsaw Man, won't be used again in this one until its very end. Another page turn brings us to another clever layout, where as our eyes scan the bottom two panels of the right-hand page, then jump up to the top left, it creates a zoom-in effect on Fujino's face. The turn after that delivers a punchline to her comments on amateur artwork, while the hilarious close-up reaction face framed opposite that artwork completes that zoom-in and gives the effect a narrative purpose. On the page after that, we see her feeling small and lost in the exact kind of insanely detailed manga background that Kyomoto is so dishearteningly good at drawing. But within that setting, the metaphor of a farmer sowing seeds helps her realize what it'll take to catch up to her rival. Flipping the page yet again, a similarly framed shot of the fields coupled with a large close-up of her running creates the impression that she's suddenly breaking into motion. The page after that tells a self-contained story, bookended top to bottom with a Google question and its answer, while a scene within that one-page story is bookended horizontally with two exterior shots of the same bookstore. Then, in the 4 pages that follow that, we begin to understand what that cover was setting up as a panel-by-panel montage of Fujino's back, hunched, always drawing as life goes on around her, illustrates the dedication, effort, time, and obsession it'll take her to become a great artist. And at the same time, the deepening shadows in that room reflect the effect this has on her mental state. I could keep going for the next 126 pages, and honestly, I've only scratched the surface of these ones.
That was a really good way of showing like time passing and stuff,
I've seen all year besides maybe Inside, and as a manga, every bit as much a masterpiece as Chainsaw Man, if not more so. So, just like read it. I know it's only been a couple weeks since Chainsaw Man and Odd Taxi, but it'll change your life. Again. Okay, I know
life-changing videos every week.
Tatsuki Fujimoto lately, but he is just one talented artist out of many. Manga is a fiercely competitive industry, and anyone with a regular slot in a big magazine is likely doing something to push the medium
they must be
direction.
doing something right.
Not to mention learning from all the other creators doing the same, which is one of the coolest things about keeping up with manga. you get to see that visual language evolving.
Yeah, it is nice to see artists like evolve their like art.
Years for anime to react to and build upon the cool things other anime do. But when a mangaka does something clever with the format or formula, other creators can start riffing on it in a matter of weeks. And in the space of a few months,
oh wow, that's new. Let's try that. Yeah.
How long the creator spends developing their concept, whole new series can spring up inspired by the accomplishments of still ongoing hits. The newly minted Shonen Jump series Chojin X by Sui
Chojin
Ishida,
X.
The Hunter's Guild Red Hood by Yuki Kawaguchi both seem to have been chugging some of that chainsaw juice, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
Leaning into the horror comedy action, bold experimental character designs, even bolder page layouts.
Yo, look at that crash.
Which is only fair, as Ishida's last manga, Tokyo Ghoul, was likely a huge influence on Chainsaw Man in turn.
Quite possibly.
Tokyo Ghoul is also, of course, a premier example of how a bad anime adaptation can ruin a great manga. Not just through a difference in art.
Well, season 2 of Tokyo Ghoul didn't even follow the manga, did it?
In focus to episodic action-based storytelling that turns what is definitively a dramatic psychological thriller into an edgy anime wrestling promotion.
Yeah.
They may as well be completely different series, and I cannot overstate how good the Tokyo Ghoul manga really is.
Right.
Not just in comparison to the anime, but in general.
Just an actual, just self-experience.
Make it one of your first binges. I'd also suggest
I need to check out the Tokyo Ghoul
because
manga.
while the anime is pretty decent in comparison to Tokyo Ghoul, the only thing it really does to leverage the strength of its medium is add in voice acting and music.
Right, which is something you can't do on paper, yeah.
Takes away so much of the visual dynamism that makes the manga as great as it is. And sadly, that sentence describes the vast majority of manga to anime adaptations, from Actually I Am to Zatch Bell. It's just the
Never heard of them, but okay.
industry that makes too many shows too fast for marketing purposes first and foremost, that sometimes there just won't be time for the animators to do much with the source material beyond copy-pasting manga panels from a vertical...
Sometimes it really is that, isn't it? It's like you're literally just seeing the same thing.
Dialogue to boring shot, reverse shot loops. Sometimes that'll just be an episode or two in an otherwise good show like Attack on Titan. Others, it'll be the whole season, or a whole series from start to finish. But you don't have to waste your time with that stuff. You can just
read
watch
the manga.
only seasons of The Promised Neverland and One Punch Man and read the rest. Or read ahead in My Hero Academia.
My girlfriend's really enjoying the Promised Neverland manga. Like, she is loving it. She's nearly finished it.
The way I've come to see it, if an anime or part of an anime isn't taking advantage of the fact that it's an anime, then there's no point in watching it over reading the all-killer, no-filler original. And that attitude has saved me a lot of time that I'm then able to spend...
It's the thing as well, like, if I was watching One Piece, I wouldn't be as far through it as I would be as with reading the manga.
Kaizen, Mob Psycho 100, K-On, Akira,
I got the first volume of K-On here, I might check that out.
Ping Pong, Devilman Crybaby, Horimiya, Kaguya-sama Love is War, Beastars, and Kageki Shoujo spring to mind off the top of my head. Tear down
it's not like you read that off a list.
Original work built for its original medium, and then use its parts to build something new that works as effectively an original anime. Reimagined from the ground
Beastars
up
animation is
every
interesting. I
story
still need to
being
watch season
rethought
2.
in terms of cinematography, not page composition. And many of these anime are among the absolute best out there, so I can absolutely understand not wanting to risk spoiling yourself on those when they do come around. But here's the thing. If an anime adaptation of a manga is like that, then reading the manga won't ruin your experience of it. Because it's its own thing.
Right.
Something as worth watching as the manga is reading on its own merits, which will not be the same merits as the manga. You can and should do both for all of the things I just mentioned, especially Nausicaa. The movie's good, but the manga's an epic fantasy work on a whole other scale of world building. And it's all drawn by Miyazaki himself. It's absolutely breathtaking.
Boom.
Now, a rare few anime adaptations are actually just straight up better than the manga they're based on. Togashi's overwork-induced health woes and stress resulted in a pretty lackluster ending for the original Yu Yu Hakusho,
right?
For instance, while the anime both improves the art and rewrites the conclusion of its final arc to be more fleshed out and satisfying.
That is interesting.
And plenty of manga to anime conversions about music, given Beck, Your Lie in April,
Your Lie in April,
so on, are naturally enhanced by the addition of actual music.
Yeah, actually being able to hear what they're doing. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Can't replicate. But these cases are rare. Most of the time, if you like an anime, it's probably worth checking out the thing it's based on. If it's not just as good, it'll probably be significantly better. And that is really the point that I'm trying to drive home with this video. Not that you should actually reject anime. I love anime.
Yeah.
Also, I've made a lot of videos about anime that I'd very much like for people to keep watching.
Yes.
Please. But we need to break the mindset that sees anime as the default de facto version of any story that gets translated into the medium. Because if you don't read manga at all, you'll miss a chance to experience
You're going to miss out on different experiences.
Anime all over again, often even better. And if you always put anime first, then you're gonna spend years missing out on some of the best visual stories being told today. But if you actually
God, he really likes that chainsaw, man.
Manga, I promise you're going to find a wealth of wonders, cult classics,
Assassination Classroom,
masterpieces, well beyond anything that anime alone.
Promise Neverland, man. Whoa.
It's basically passion projects all the way down, crafted by artists who've been pushing themselves, each other, and the medium itself to and past their limits for decades now. With this video, I have barely scratched
JoJo's Part 6, I can't
Mostly
wait.
on shonen stuff because it's what I've been binging lately, and it's what most of you seem to be familiar with. But there are just as many masterworks in the shoujo, seinen, and josei spheres, and beyond them. Even in genres animes conditioned us to dismiss out of hand, like card game commercials and harem comedies, you'll find absolute gold. You have no idea how much great manga is out there. Shit,
Pokemon Adventures.
I barely have an idea.
Whoa.
But with the likes of Bookwalker and the Shonen Jump app putting more and more manga in your
Shonen Jump app's only like £2 a month, isn't it?
It's never been easier to start finding out.
See, I don't like reading on my phone though.
Professional shitbag
Signing out.
from my mother.
You see, that's my problem though. I don't like reading on my phone. As I was talking about, I like reading the actual book. So if I was to just be manga only, I would be spending so much money buying all these mangas. But yeah, damn, there was some really good points made in that video. That was good. Oh, sorry, I've literally just started recording these after waking up. That's why I'm chugging these energy drinks. But that was class. That was really cool. I really liked that. That was a really good video, and I learned some stuff. So cool. Thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link is in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all that to help support the channel. Greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that. And thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys next time.